Hi everybody, Dion Lyle with Cherry 25 here. I've started this new webcast called the Fintech 5. It's a weekly 5-minute webcast on fintech innovation. I'm going to be reviewing PowerPoint articles, other media, just to quickly inform about all things fintech and innovation. This week, I'm going to cover a paper that I actually wrote over a year ago. And the paper's thesis, and something I still firmly believe in, is that banks need to do R&D. They're not set up to do R&D, so I recommend they outsource that to the venture capital community. Here's how it goes. So a bank says, we're a tech company with a bank license. I'm sorry, I don't think that's true. I really don't, because saying you're a tech company doesn't make you a tech company. And by way of background, I have been in tech companies. I was with Compaq, I was with Recalm, a couple other software companies, Documentum, etc. But I've also been with Citibank and First Data. So I've seen both sides of this as well as startups. And they're not the same. They don't operate the same, they don't think the same, they don't have the same lens. So merely because ING Bank CEO Ralph Hamers said he wants to be seen as a tech company with a banking license doesn't make it so. By the way, I've met Ralph Hamers, fantastic individual. I think he's a great bank CEO. Conversely, I tried to find all the quotes from Apple, Amazon, Microsoft talking about how much they wanted to be seen like a bank. And there were no quotes for that, obviously, right? So it's not right to say we're a tech company with a bank license. I looked at JPMC's annual report. I've looked at their Investor Day presentations, and their quotes are all great, but they're all bank quotes, right? All of these talk about banking. They all talk like bankers. JPMC executes with disciplined capital expense and controls. Well, as I say here, every bank ever said that. So the other interesting thing is banks talk about is digital everything. That is not something you'll find in Google/Alphabet's 10K filing. What Alphabet talks about is access and technology for everyone, moonshots, machine learning, right? Google was a company built in the cloud and has been investing in infrastructure, security, data, right? I mean, these are not things that banks say. So how do you close the gap? I mean, we can all accept now, as many people did not just a few short years ago, technology companies are coming into banking. As the great Jeff Bezos says, your margin is my opportunity. Well, the margins in banking is pretty good. The margins in payments, not as much. So we'll see what he actually ends up doing with his company. But the point is you can close the gap, right? Banks don't spend on R&D. They don't even really spend on new tech. I did this chart a while back, and I think it's as valid today as it was then, which is to say Amazon spends 9% of their revenue on R&D. It might even be higher today. Google 13, Microsoft 13. Apple's fairly low at 4, but all of these companies spend tens of billions of dollars on R&D, actual R&D. Now, I looked at JP Morgan's tech spend in 2016. Admittedly, it's probably better now than it was then, but new fintech spend was still very low relative to legacy IT. Now, as a lot of people know, banks have to keep the ATM network going. You have to keep your COBOL systems up and running. I get it. It's hard. That's why I think every bank should have a program, whether it's a CVC program like my old friends at Citibank, CVC being corporate venture capital, or if it's just an engagement program. If you're a small mid-sized bank and don't want to or can't afford to invest, it's okay. You can still access all of the R&D that comes out of venture capital investments. VCs invest over $30 billion a year in fintech. That's great. You can access that with a program. Let's scroll down how you do this, right? Engage fintechs however you can, but begin with a fintech strategy based on your technology needs, on your roadmap, on business issues your customers are seeing and want to solve for. Engage the fintech ecosystem. VCs, influencers, universities. These are all great sources of innovation for you. And then do a POC with 1 to 2 fintechs. Nothing too hard. Personally, I would not include the IT or the CISO or those folks at this early stage. I consider them to be very useful in the pilot production phase. But at POC, you just want to get an experiment going. You want to get started. You want to engage the fintech. And you don't want to scare the fintech away with too much bureaucracy. So what I'm suggesting is Every bank could have a fintech outreach program that could be their virtual R&D center without having to set up an actual R&D function, which is, let's be honest, beyond the capability of most banks today. I hope you enjoy this. This paper is available for download. And as always, I welcome comments, questions, and any other input you have for me. Have a great day.